Hello, everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the show where myself, Dan Selke of winteriscoming.net, and Mia Johnson of darkshotoftheforest.com and winteriscoming.net talk all things, pop culture, movies, television, sci-fi, fantasy, lasers, dinosaurs, maybe, swords, etc., and so forth, armor. And we are here today on this lovely October 27th, pre-Halloween, for a special spooky episode. Actually, no, it's not at all. It's normal. But we do have a lot to talk about, quite frankly, today.
Yeah.
This is, some weeks there's nothing going on, and then other weeks there's we have two major releases, a giant trailer, and lots of incidentals.
Yeah, this show practically wrote itself. I was like, okay, we know what we're talking about today.
I love
no
the ones
question.
where it's one line, talk about Dune.
Yeah.
Done. Done with the outline.
Yeah.
And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hello, Christian. Hello, Roy. Good to see y'all, and everybody else in the chat. Feel free to keep your comments coming because we have a live one today.
Ooh.
And what say we just skip right past the preambulatory banter and get right into the deep, juicy heart of the matter?
Yes, I've been waiting a really, really, really long time to talk about this.
Okay, Mia Johnson, what did you think of Denis Villeneuve's film Dune that came out over this past weekend?
Wow. Oh my God.
We're going to review Dune.
Yeah, I am so surprised that I loved it.
Oh, yeah? I'm glad.
Which I was leaning towards probably going to like it, and, we'll see how this goes. But I was enjoying the book, and I was like, okay, it seemed to me very impossible to adapt. It's kind of been this whole film's reputation, but it took me some warming up to do, and as the film picked up steam, I was somehow hooked. I don't know how that happened, but now I'm hooked.
I was pleasantly sunk in.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't love everything about it, but it had the kind of sweep and the scope and the vision and sort of just the prettiness to look at behind it, that it was easy to just kind of sit there and just kind of let it wash over me.
Yeah.
Especially because I was in a theater too, and you were HBO Max in it.
Yeah, and now I don't know if I have regrets about watching on HBO Max. So here's the deal. I watched the first
Got a
half
sequel,
of the
it's
movie.
fine.
That's true. I watched the first 30 minutes of the movie over at my parents', and they've got a 4K TV and the surround sound. And that was just the ultimate
nice.
eye and ear candy, because you've got these huge sweeping visuals, and then in the background you're hearing Hans Zimmer's score.
It was a good score.
Which was the perfect
It was
compliment.
very nice.
He really, it's Hans Zimmer, and he's always great, but he really, really went out for this one. Maybe except for the Harkonnen scenes where they're doing those throaty didgeridoo
I like the didgeridoos. Afterwards,
my
I thought my
skin
partner,
crawl.
I was definitely singing just for a straight week.
Okay. I'll admit this. When I was watching the film too in the beginning, it felt really, really, really nerdy. And
How did it start again? Was it one of those a preamble things where in the beginning that was this?
Possibly, because I watched it on two separate nights, so it's
Right.
kind of like the beginning. I barely forgot, but it did just kind of seem like, oh man, we're dealing with these. We've got spaceships and we've got all sorts of names for. I think it's when you start giving names to made up things, and the made up things have made up names. So you're like, oh man, what are you watching? And my dad, who's a sci-fi fan, was making fun of me for watching this. I was like, come on. But no,
You can put all the money you want at a big budget spectacular, but if you have names like Gom Jabbar, it's there's nothing you can do.
The Muad'Dib.
It's just nerdy. Yeah.
But no, I had a lot of fun, and I think what hooked me in was how they were building up Paul's character. I genuinely enjoyed Timothée Chalamet, and I was like, I could be in this for the long haul. I could see more than 2 movies. I want this to be the
That's
series
good.
that Warner Brothers gives money to and takes money away from Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, is that even still happening? Yeah, I would be definitely in favor of that. Everyone, it was, from the start, it was a well-cast movie. Timothée Chalamet, even as I'm not going to make fun of him for, having a hard to pronounce name, and, where does that accent aigu in there come from? Why is it even in there? He was well-cast. Paul was supposed to be, like sometimes you like cast a 25-year-old or 16-year-old and you're like, no, I don't
Yeah.
buy it. Like with him, I do. He just has such a boyish kind of look and kind of projects an innocence, but he has a charisma too. He does have it. He has what
Yeah.
you needed. Oscar Isaac was very, very steady and kind of authoritative, but in a nice, patriarchal, but friendly, nice dad kind of way as Leto Atreides. Rebecca Ferguson, I thought, did a good job as Lady Jessica too. Shouldered.
Yeah.
She kind of had a lot put on her too. She had to carry a lot of the scenes where she's kind of the one in the know, even though Paul's becoming this superhuman person.
Yeah, yeah. I was surprised at how the weight had kind of tipped to her, especially towards the second half of the movie. And you see the dynamic between her and Paul. Oh, but one thing that, as we're talking about, oh, go ahead.
No, just when he yelled at her in the tent, it was sad.
Oh, yeah. That was very sad. One thing that stuck out to me, though, was I think this was something we had kind of, or maybe I just looked at in the trailers, kind of thinking tonally it was off because we did see some humor and we saw it was the very action oriented, and I think that totally melted away by the time
Yeah.
you watch the movie and you're like, okay, maybe they just chose these moments for the trailer. Like,
They did.
I think Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho probably has the most zingers, if you want to call him that. But
There was there was a genuine laugh in the theater. There's only the one when it was like, "Are you putting some muscle?" "I am." "No." And then he walks away. Like people actually laughed at that, like a kind of not like a roar, but it was
Yeah.
like a audible. Everyone's laughed. I'm like, okay, that wasn't in the book, but it's fine. You're right. It wasn't too much. It could have, which brings me to a point. So you've read Dune. I've read Dune now. Were you surprised by how much? So I figured in a 2.5-hour movie adaptation of half a book, you would be able to fit in pretty much everything. But I was surprised by how much they cut. Like there was this kind of long party scene where kind of the Duke gathers like, some of the Fremen and the council members and all these different groups that are whatever space people. And it kind of has like a Star Wars cantina energy. It's like a little, it's probably the lightest part of the book.
yeah.
And the movie and the story is so kind of heavy. I was like, maybe we could have used a little pick-me-up in the party scene. They didn't have the whole thing where Jessica's suspected of being the mole,
Oh, yeah.
which I did like in the book. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that they cut a lot, considering how much space they had to work with.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the Jessica part. And the other thing that stuck out to me was the whole Dr. Yui. And there was like literally in the second or so scene of the book was when I think the Baron was talking about, he just basically lays out his whole plan.
Yes.
And that's where you kind of have that, what would you call it, like dramatic irony, some sort of, inside information as the reader as to what's about to go down compared to everyone else. So I was like, because I know what's going to happen anyway, I wonder if the plot might have been a little confusing to people who had no background, because you just
I
know
have heard
there's this
that.
guy and for some reason, he's got beef against House Atreides. But to be fair,
He's huge. And he's in a lot of mist.
yeah, that did freak
flies.
me out. But it did. I was still kind of a little disoriented because I was expecting them to adapt so faithfully, like scene by scene.
Figured why not?
Yeah, that when a couple of scenes were rearranged, even like the signing and saying, like, we hereby invite you to Arrakis. I was like, wait, did that happen?
I don't think so.
Yeah, with the bagpipe welcome and all that.
Oh yeah, like there was like a little added scene with like father and son just like walking, like you have a responsibility, like
Yeah.
a very Simba Mufasa moment kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, in a film, maybe you just need certain elements like those where you can have something intimate and still push the story
Yeah,
along.
of course. You want to change it a bit. I was surprised, and again, partly because I thought it would have like leavened the tone a bit.
Yeah.
And by the way, Nicole says that Timothy is a boring actor. Like, kind of. I do think that in a story like this, boring can be an asset, because like the main character you're supposed to kind of project onto, and he's supposed to be this kind of iconic, everyone sees themselves in him kind of guy, like a kind of sort of a canvas. I thought he worked for this. I thought it worked well. I thought everyone worked well. I didn't think anybody was miscast.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, I think.
I mean, a bit. It was like in fact, I mean, they were so famous. They were a couple of like, why even bother putting Dave Bautista in this if all you're gonna do is like put him under a mile of makeup and have him glower at stuff?
Yeah, I think on that note, I was kind of expecting literally every new character who showed up to be somebody, and you're
Right.
supposed to like clap and welcome them and all that. I think they could have scaled it back a little. I think
Probably, yeah.
they really forced all these stars in there just so you can, it was risky, and you're like, are people gonna want to watch this and all that? They could have maybe just kept it to, maybe Paul, the dad, and his mother, and maybe like a Duncan Idaho or Gurney, Haddock or whatever.
Well, him again, Josh Brolin. Like, I don't know if you needed Josh Brolin in this role. It wouldn't do that much.
I think, okay, maybe his character was the one who, I don't know if it was his acting or the lines they had given him where he sounded very,
brutal.
I don't know, like kind of Shakespearean or very stage play like. It just seemed like his dialogue was so unnatural compared to everything else. I think that was just a small little nitpicky thing.
I mean, the filmmaking you knew was going to be excellent with Denis Villeneuve. Like, I liked how they did the voice. Like, that's been like a tricky thing to do. You know, the thing where they're like, you say something, but you say it in a really cool way that just makes people do what you want. It's hard to like kind of sell me on that, but I like the way he kind of like he mouthed the words, you didn't hear anything, and then like it was a great kind of sound mix. Very, very effective all around.
Yeah, that was very well done. And then I was...
Oh, they also laughed when Javier Bardem spit on the table. So.
That one was quite funny. Obviously, because I wasn't in a theater, it was literally just me, so I don't even know what I laughed at anymore. That was quite nice. And leading up to, eventually, we're saying all the spoilers, he's out in the dunes and he's getting greeted by all these people. I've heard some people say that it ends quite abruptly. I didn't quite feel that way. I think, okay, here's the thing. I think this feels like an episode 1 in a TV series, bar it being like over 2 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hour episode 1.
But it really has that structure of like, okay, if you think of Harry Potter, that pretty much has, from A to Z, a complete arc where you can just watch one movie. This one does too, but it leaves you on that cliffhanger where I'm like, if this were Netflix, I would be hitting next episode, or HBO, I'd be hitting next episode. So it's an interesting way to structure a movie, but I wasn't too opposed to it.
I didn't hate it. I mean, especially because, maybe it's because I knew it was going to end. I thought, okay, if you're going to break it up, sure, that was fine. Also, it matters there's only one more. If this were like the part of like, we're going to make an 8-movie series, like I wouldn't be happy about that. But there's one more movie for Dune. And then they can do things afterwards if they want. But at least those are like other books and other stories.
Yeah.
Like, you get 2. I will give you 2.
So how much longer do you think it's going to be? 2 or 3 years?
2023.
Okay. Fingers crossed. I was like, I really just wish they had filmed this like Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, where they were like, we are just going to film everything, cut them up into 2 movies. Yeah, I don't know why, they didn't want to invest, because I'm sure it would just be easier, maybe more time consuming, but...
Well, because I kept playing this game where it was like, we'll certainly, of course, part 1, you got to make part 2. But like, if you believe that, why don't you just do it at first?
Yeah.
Like you can't believe what you're saying. They must have been scared. They must have been nervous.
Yeah, which I think it was kind of, I don't know if I want to call it rude or insulting that Warner Brothers didn't, greenlit the second part, because it was amazing, and I haven't really seen any like harsh criticism on it. I think there have, when people say mixed reviews and all that, but. Yeah, I'm like, compared to Justice League, like...
You've invested in some stupid things, Warner Brothers.
This one is not it. This one isn't it. So, I'm like, if they want to adapt the second book or the third book, or I don't know when, eventually maybe sometimes the books start like going downhill. I don't know if that happens in the Dune franchise.
It always does, and Dune's no exception.
Okay, so maybe I think like Denis Villeneuve recommended, he's like, what if we made it a trilogy? I would be down for that.
Yeah,
I want to see more.
It's good up to like the third book is some books the third book is the best one, and the fourth book is interesting. The fifth and sixth books are like, what? You're getting old, man, aren't you? Some strange happened up in that brain.
Yeah, I figured that would be the case.
I also want to mention before we move on, just again, the visual spectacular, like the sandworm stuff. I loved the hugeness of it. and the scale of it. And they really did feel sort of threatening and kind of Jaws-like when they were kind of going over the sand dunes and like, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Their giant-ass teeth-filled mouths were just great.
Yeah, those looked really, really cool.
He has a great sense of scope, and he really sold me on that. I mean, I like some of the particulars. Like, I thought kind of like the attack on the Atreides home. It was like a little quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you thought that too?
Yeah, kind of to me, I was hoping that it wasn't like Venom where that was the climax of the movie. Because Venom only had, like, Venom 2 had only, like, led up to one climactic scene. You're like, oh, that's it. So I do like that there was still more after that. But yeah, it seemed like maybe we needed something more in between to kind of build up to the attack. But
it wasn't plotted perfectly, but like it made up for it with its ambition and its scope.
Exactly.
And its kind of vision behind it.
Yeah, and I want to see
its imagination,
more Zendaya because I think a lot of people were like, you know, she's on this tour, you know, kind of second with Timothée Chalamet. She's talking about her character at length for someone who's only had like 7 minutes really on screen outside of the visions. I was like,
actually in it like more than I thought she would be, like given how much they talk down, like she's barely in it at all.
I guess it's the opposite for me. I think because they just had her doing so much promotion, I was like, okay, what is she going to be doing in this? I know she'll have a bigger role in Next Picture, but this one I was like,
I remembered her.
She?
Like she did make an impression.
Yeah.
Which I guess speaks to like I'm fine with her being a celebrity. Like I thought that you want someone in that big role. But yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I would watch the second one. I wish it was coming sooner. I mean, I always knew it would be good, at least good, and I think it's gonna. I think it's very good.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna give it a solid B plus A minus.
Yeah, I would be on the same part with you. I'm glad I got to discuss this finally.
Yes, it's been a while, and perhaps some more. As Christian asks, so a kid got knocked out a window. I'm not sure what you mean, Christian. This isn't Game of Thrones. This isn't Bran going out a window. Is it Timothée Chalamet? This is Paul Atreides. He ain't falling out in a window. He is becoming the Kwisatz Haderach, or Muad'Dib, or what other dumb name they have for him. I'm sure there are others, but I forget.
Yeah. I was losing track. I was like, wait, I thought he was supposed to be this, but now they're saying this. Anyway. What a movie.
I just like when the old lady makes him put his hand in a box. And it hurts a lot. I think it's fun.
All right.
I like the costumes. I like all the veils.
Okay.
There's some great veil work in that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. But from a movie that we really enjoyed to a movie that you got an advance screening of, Mia, you got to see before America at large the next Marvel movie spectacular, Eternals, starring everybody, starring Kit Harington, starring Richard Madden, starring Gemma Chan, starring Angelina Jolie, starring Kumail Nanjiani, starring just about, Salma Hayek, starring just about everyone you can imagine. And they all come together and they play these ancient beings who have been on the earth for millennia, defending it from terror and horror. And Marvel is just is staking its claim on this. This is going to be its next big thing. Mia, will it satisfy people and will it do what Marvel wants to do?
Ooh, this is so sad. I feel like I'm at a funeral. Dan, I did not enjoy Marvel's Eternals.
Drag her.
We need like a dun 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 sound effect to play. And so this is funny because this in Shang-Chi for me, I was skeptical about because I've always been saying these are two new characters or two movies introducing new characters.
Yes, they are.
And that's always hard to do. And Shang-Chi, I was more than overjoyed with. And so that one actually gave me a little bit more hope for this. I was like, okay, I can be a little more accepting and accommodating new heroes. But I think they really kind of jumped the gun with Eternals. And I am so disappointed.
What would you say are like the problems with it that you were having?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah. And I saw this on Monday. It comes out November the 5th, so next week, so everyone can see it, or should you see it. But it's to me, I was like, this is kind of like a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's just all these little moving parts where, I'm like, where do I even begin? Of course, you have, like you were saying, this massive, massive cast. And there are pros and cons. I was like, I actually do kind of enjoy some of the characters, like Kumail Nanjiani, who plays Kingo. He's this like Bollywood actor, and his, like when he puts on his Clark Kent persona. And I was like, he was really, really funny. He brought a lot of charm to the movie, and fun. But it's like, okay, now we have to give that time and dedication to 9 other characters in the span of over 2 hours. And that just doesn't work out, because the next factor to that is that the movie is non-linear. So we have scenes in present day where the team is broken up and they're scattered to the wind. And then we go back in time to ancient history where the team is together. But when they're together, you don't really learn a lot about them, because they're just fighting the villain, and, everybody is kind of saying maybe a one-liner or something, but that's not really character development. So that's one of the paper cuts. Another thing,
it's a big one.
Yeah, another thing
area.
I would say is it's a very talkative movie. And I don't think I got time to really express that in my review, but I did say that there's not a lot of action scenes, so you're like, okay, but this is a Marvel movie, you want things to be exciting and quick paced. And it's like that all just falls flat too, because there's this whole romance budding between Gemma Chan's character and Richard Madden, or rather they're ex-lovers.
Oh yeah.
So
it's
now,
like budding. They're
they're ex-lovers.
like 1,000,000 years old.
So now we have to kind of deal with them like being moody and bickering about, the past, and, do we love each other? Do we not? Then there's Kit Harington, who's kind of like her current boyfriend. He's like, hey, but what about me? And it's like, hey, but what about the plot? So that just, I was like, I think during a couple scenes where they were talking, I was literally like this. And I was just kind of just soaking it all in, and might have dozed off. I woke myself up in time, but yeah, there's just so much going on in this movie that it just does not work the way that it should. And I said in my review, there are some good parts. Like I said, the characters are good. The scenery is very beautiful, but it's like making a quilt or a dress with different pieces of fabric, where it's like, oh, this is a pretty piece of fabric, this is a pretty piece, and then when you sew it all together, you're like, okay, that didn't quite work out. Yeah.
What do you think they were going for that they missed?
I think they were definitely trying to make this one of Marvel's more mature movies.
Sure, there is a sex scene in it, apparently.
There is. And it caught me so off guard. I knew it was coming, and I kind of anticipated like when it was coming around the corner as well. But and I told you I'm not like, it's not really my thing. And so to have that in a Marvel movie as well, where basically it was like from the waist up, so to speak, and they were unclothed, and it was I was like, this is really weird, because I'm watching a Marvel movie, not like, HBO.
This is inappropriate, but like, does it involve Kumail Nanjiani? Is that why he got ripped?
No, actually. Okay. Since we're talking about the two lovers, it's Gemma Chan and Richard Madden, which, I mean, two good-looking people, but not the time and not the place.
It must feel weird for a Marvel movie. I can only imagine.
Yeah. So that, it's like, well, you definitely, kids probably wouldn't like that. And the movie is so slow-paced and not a lot of action that I don't think it would appeal to children anyway, which is usually kind of,
Sure, yeah.
Marvel movies
They're
are
very wide kind of a umbrella.
And I think my other biggest complaint was the villains, which I think they explained this in the trailer. The Eternals are sent from the Celestials, these big cosmic beings, to defend the Earth from these ravaging space alien vicious dog creatures. And it just sounds so ridiculous. I was like, we're aiming to have a very mature, adult themed movie, and they're fighting, aliens from space that have no motivations. They have no, anything against the Eternals. So it just felt very weak and very underdeveloped. So I was disappointed in that as well.
I'm sorry, Mia. Yeah. And I'm sorry to everyone out there who might be thinking of watching this. I'm sorry to Marvel? What do they reap it? I mean, They have so many movies, they can survive a bad one or a less than great one. But the problem with them is, of course, that they tie everything into everything else.
Well,
So, talk about a patchwork dress.
here's the final problem, unless I find more problems in my pocket. The final problem is that this movie opens up another can, at least in my eyes, for the whole Marvel continuity. I was expecting this to link back to maybe Shang-Chi or to maybe Loki or to maybe WandaVision.
Right.
This, like, in no way, shape, or form seems to relate to anything.
That's kind of nice, honestly.
Hold on, let me explain, because I was like, hold the F up, Marvel.
Hold the phone.
You know, we've got 27 movies, I believe. This would be 27, I think. All of these shows that have either come out or are still in the works. And we've just got, to me now, way too many threads in the MCU. So for instance, I was first disappointed, like, when I know WandaVision is still maybe supposed to connect to Doctor Strange, but let's say, for instance,
Yeah.
Loki opens up the multiverse and you've got the whole King Conqueror thing. And I thought, oh, well, that for sure is going to be this whole thing that happens in Spider-Man No Way Home, where,
Yeah.
wow, look, all the villains are coming because Loki opened the multiverse.
Ant-Man,
That's so
I think,
cool.
too, yeah.
And then you realize, wait a minute, in the trailer, Doctor Strange opened his own multiverse. So now that's its own thing, you know, because he's doing the spell and he messes everything up.
Sure.
And the Kang the Conqueror thing is something else. So we've got 2 tracks. And then we've got, at the end of Shang-Chi, we've got his rings and the whole mystery of what happened to his rings. And then in WandaVision, we've got the whole mystery about why are her kids calling her. And I'm like, you know, I feel like a rich dog walker or something where, you know, you've got all these dogs. You're like, hold on, please. So, yeah, this is just really painful for me. Maybe painful is being dramatic, but it's just really maybe sad to say, okay, maybe Marvel does need to downsize. Maybe they need to chop a few projects off of the block and kind of keep things simple, because, you know, like, you're trying to tell us every single thing counts, but unless there's direct continuity, it's just going to start getting really, really out of hand.
They had a good run. You know,
No,
when you go at the
that's-
top, there's nowhere to go but down.
So this is it. This is how the MCU dies.
Not with a bang, but with a timid sex scene with Richard Madden.
With Richard Madden. Wow. So I don't know. I'm assuming there are going to be projects I like. I think Hawkeye still looks promising.
sure.
Spider-Man still looks promising, but at some point I think we're going to really have to narrow it down and start, you know, making some extreme executive decisions.
I'll be very curious because Marvel is so kind of unified and it's so dependent on everything fitting together that we'll see what the reaction is and whether that inspires them to change course.
Yep.
And how do you change course when you're Marvel? Like, how do you change course when you're this giant ship? Like, a small schooner can skirt the iceberg, but a Titanic? That's going to be a lot harder.
You need lifeboats.
And you need more
You
than the
know where I
Titanic
got
had.
1,000 lifeboats. You know where I got that from? Succession, season 1, episode 3. I've been watching more Succession.
Oh, fun. Oh, God.
That's a whole nother can of
The
worms.
new season is on. And so far, it's very, very good. Shit.
Nicole says, I fell asleep watching Dune. Oh, no.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour pretty shot of a desert. Like,
Yeah.
I liked it a lot, but yeah, it's not
I
great for
get it,
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I do. I get it.
Christian says, could, I believe Fantastic Four be the one to bring things back together with Kang, Reed Richards connection?
I mean, maybe, but I think that my point is that, like, once you get so spread out, can anything bring everything together? Like you said, there are so many
Exactly.
threads out there. So I'm looking forward to seeing them do a little dance. See what happens. All right, shall we move on? Or do we have any other thoughts on
Yeah,
Eternals
let's
or
keep
Dune?
it going.
Hey, because again, big week. We also got a proper trailer for Amazon Prime Video's new fantasy program, The Wheel of Time, based on Robert Jordan's 14-book strong epic fantasy series about, a young savior and a dark lord and magic pew-pew-pews, that kind
That
of
old thing.
I thought we'd watch it. And can we do the pause thing? Is that an option? Okay, cool.
Yay.
Let's watch it, and maybe I can shed some light on what's happening. I'll try not to do too
Please.
much. This is the Wheel of Time. Okay,
Swear your oath.
great. It's Moraine Sedai, Rosamund Pike.
I swear
Okay,
to speak no
beautiful.
word
They're in
that is
Tarvalin. I mean, first of all, it looks great. It just looks very opulent. Little special effects. Okay, there's Loghain. Put it on pause. All right. So what's interesting here is that so Moraine is like kind of again the Gandalf, but they're apparently they're gonna go back to her like because she was that was like her making you an Aes Sedai ceremony. So they're gonna like do some kind of flashback thing. They're really making her the main character. It looks like based on the show, which she is not in the books. Like she's in it. She's Gandalf,
interesting.
but Frodo's the main character, and Moraine is Moraine, but Rand is the main character. So it's a cool choice. Okay, play. I like the look of it. I like the kind of wavy
Yeah.
things. It looks fantasy, you know. I like the hair. Oh, that's so pretty. We didn't go there either. They definitely spent all the money. Look at the costumes.
It
look at
looks
the lighting.
so elaborate.
I mean, it's Jeff Bezos, man. What we
Ornate.
got? Oh, look at the
Yeah.
crane shot. Look at the horse. Look at the slow. Look at the forests. Look at look at that. That's not
Yeah.
CGI at all. You got just
Wow.
beautiful mountains in somewhere. I forget.
the
We got
birds.
Nynaeve. We got some of our younger. These are our like ingenue characters
Mm-hmm.
who are going to be our hobbits, our Frodos, our Sams, and so forth and
This
so
is
on.
spooky.
This is our Mines of Moria segment. Looking good. Okay. Yeah, I love her. She's the best. We got Moraine again. Fronting Moraine, and just the photography is so nice. It's you gotta burned out area. Gotta go to some ruins, and of course Sauron, the Dark Lord, the Dark One. Oh, put it on pause.
Yeah,
I
what's
love
going
the
on
way
here?
these monsters look. I think they look really good. I don't mean to like be diminutive, but like they're orcs. They are.
The
They're called Trollocs in this, but they're orcs.
Okay.
And they kind of are. Each one is a different animal. So there's like big beak Trollocs, and there's like a whatever that thing's supposed to be, like
Satan's
rams
spawn.
and satyrs and bulls and dogs
Okay.
and birds. But yeah, they're the monstrous servants of the Dark One, which means they're orcs. The series does get away from Lord of the Rings eventually, but it's very Lord of the Rings heavy at first. Okay, go on.
Okay.
I think it looked great. I think everything looks great. Oh, come on, look at that. We got Perrin. We got that's so good. It's like a wolf thing. Got sun-dappled light. Got dim light. Got early morning light, late night light. The cities look terrific. Put on pause. Good one. The costumes are interesting. A lot of them have like kind of an Eastern flavor. This would be the Children of the Light, who are like a group of religious zealots who are kind of out to stop all the Aes Sedai sorceresses. They don't like them very
Okay.
much. They're like a brotherhood, the Aes Sedai sisterhood. I don't know if I love the costumes on them. Looks a little. It's always dangerous, you know, with fantasy costuming that you don't skirt too close to Renaissance fair.
I suppose. Well, I guess that would be my only idea of fantasy costumes. So, for the most part, they do a good job of avoiding that in this. I see what you're saying.
Or like in general, you know it when you see it. You know
Yeah.
when they cross the line when you see it. Okay, go on. I don't know. They could be a little simpler, maybe. The acting looks good.
Yeah.
You know that they put money into this, into the performers and everything. Some action, and we're seeing a lot of things I recognize from the first book. Like that's an important bit from the first book, that Waygate there. I know they're going to cut things, or they're going to combine things, but it looks like I'm seeing a lot of things from the first book, The Eye of the World.
Okay, look at the money into that CGI and the magic.
Again, right out the gate.
Wow.
And this shows like this will either, sink this trend or buoy it to new, overreaching Marvel-esque Eternals heights.
Could you explain the part about the wheel? Do you remember what she was saying about the wheel turning?
The wheel weaves as the wheel wills, which is something that she says over and over in the books. Basically, the concept of the Wheel of Time is this, it's a metaphor for life. It's an endlessly turning, never stopping, unceasing wheel that turns over and over. Circa, exactly. Mufasa and Simba. And history repeats itself, literally in this world, kind of ages come and go, and then they kind of be forgotten, and they start again in a new form. Reincarnation's a thing. And then the Dark One, the big bad man, wants to stop the Wheel of Time, and we can't let him, Mia. We can't let him.
That
We got him.
cannot be.
It can't be. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep turning. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning. The wheel of time keeps on turning.
Is that the theme song?
Is that Journey, I want to say?
Oh. I wouldn't know. Well, let's see. Natalie says, I think I'm
she's
sold.
sold.
Oh, you should definitely be sold. It's going to be so exciting.
It could be interesting. And as Julie says, I wonder what the Trollocs were going to look like on screen, but I think they've done well at the costumes. I think the Trollocs look I really do. I think they look great. Some of the costumes are like a little iffy on, but the Trollocs look really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going all out. I'm going to watch it. Again, it's this giant fantasy show, but it does have, like, I was reading about Amazon giving the showrunner like 10,000 notes on the pilot episode because I mean, you know, that's a lot of money they're putting into this.
Yeah.
They want it to be exact. So the danger is, can you make something that's individualistic enough to kind of strike a real chord with people, but still have that broad Marvel appeal?
Yeah.
That's what
I
you
think
do.
that was the problem with Eternals, was that you have, you know, Chloe, who's this visionary and, you know, indie filmmaker sort of person. And I think to shoehorn her into a Marvel movie just probably was. I think she did her best. I was like, I know I just ragged on this movie for probably 10 minutes. I think she did her best given the circumstances. It just wasn't meant to be.
Oh,
For Eternals, yeah.
I mean,
So that's
it's
what
kind of sad too, because like it sounds like they're trying new things,
Yeah.
but sometimes stick to what you know. I guess, as Marcel says, just compare it to the cycles of the Matrix. It's very much like the Matrix, very much like those cycles. Remember, this is like pretty obscure Matrix lore from 20 years ago. Yeah, the way it always repeats.
Yeah.
But yes, it is similar to that, Marcel. Good call. All right, so there's a lot of things coming up, and a lot of things already happening. And these will all happen again as the Wheel of Time repeats in 1,000 years when we're reincarnated. Any other opinions from you? Let us know. Otherwise, we move on to the final segment.
I'm ready for the final segment.
Final segment. Every week we do the WiC News Lightning Round, where we go through all the news stories we couldn't fit into the main show and just give our 20-second opinions. Although Christian asks, is Bill Murray really in Ant-Man 3? We didn't get that in there. Probably.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but yeah, if he is, it's the right movie for him. Paul Rudd is a comedian. He's a comedian. Let's do it.
That's true. Yeah. It's a very serious drama now, directed by a very serious Academy Award director. So yeah, it looks like he is, but we'll see. All right, are you ready, man? I think you're going first.
WiC News Lightning Round.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, lightning
do we have
round. Yes. All right. Thank you, Richard. I apologize for my haste. Okay. Mia Johnson.
Yes.
Hayden Christensen will appear with Rosario Dawson in the Ahsoka Tano show as Darth Vader, I guess.
Yeah, that's exciting because Hayden is already cast in the Obi-Wan series, which, you know, these are supposedly going to take place on two different parts of the timeline, which to me I think should be way past the... I honestly don't know. I probably should have thought this through a lot more, but I'm
like
excited.
Mandalorian times, right?
Yeah, it's going to be in that time period. That was 20 seconds? No, that was I did say I'm excited, so I'll leave it at that.
Cool.
Conspiracy. I'm going to go back and check the tape. Okay, Dan, let's go. Alfie Allen, Jack Gleason, Christopher Hajiju, Christian Nairn, Gemma Whelan, Daniel Portman, and Isaac Hempstead Wright will be at the official Game of Thrones fan convention. You made me say all those names, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a little mean to you there, but I mean, I want to say them all. It's Theon, Joffrey, Tormund, the Hodor, Yara, Podrick, and Bran. We're gonna be at this Game of Thrones fan convention in Las Vegas in February. Very important. I don't know why they're really doing it, but I'm excited. There's a lot of people who are going to come. I'm sure they'll announce more as it goes on. I was trying to fit a lot into a little bit of time.
Yeah, I've apparently forgotten what 20 seconds was, and we were on a roll too.
Sometimes that just happens. Like this comes back up, and I'm like, I don't know. Or just blame Richard when it doesn't work out your way. Okay, Mia, here we go. Mm-hmm. Disneyland raises ticket prices again, and some former employees have circulated a petition to fire CEO Bob Chapek.
Yeah, Disney Parks fans are big mad at Bob Chapek, and they've been saying, you know, there's a lot of things that he's been ruining, raising prices. This is the fifth time in 5 years that Disneyland prices have raised. They've had paid Fast Pass now at Disney World, and so it's just a lot. And Imagineers are upset that they have to be moved from LA to Florida.
Ooh, I wouldn't like that either.
Yeah. Okay, Dan, Netflix is making a Last Kingdom movie after the final season.
I think it's really cool. The Last Kingdom is a really good show on Netflix, medieval drama. It's been going on for 4 seasons now. A fifth season's going to come up. It's not going to adapt like all the books, so I think a movie is a really nice way to finish it off and honor the fans and do something a little higher scale, maybe a little forward in time. Great idea. Thank you, Netflix. That's a cool thing. Good for you. Now we're back on. All right, Mia. What do you think of this weird leaked logo for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Yeah, it's fun. I'm assuming the bottom is supposed to say Quantum Mania. Maybe it, when you have different writing, maybe that means you're going to a different place, different setting. So I wonder if it'll be like, ooh, this is the writing that they use in the quantum realm, because we've never we've been there, but we haven't been there. Maybe there's a city there. Maybe that's where the TVA is hiding or King the Conqueror is hiding. I don't know.
Talking fast.
Yoo-hoo. Okay, this one I'm actually excited for now. HBO Renews Succession for season 4.
I mean, that's great, but now I'm more curious about you. So how far are you into it now, then?
I've only watched 3. I'm going to watch episode 4 tonight, but I'm really loving it.
If you get to season 2, if by season 2 you're not into it, then you can stop. Well, you can stop anyway. But yeah, it's great. This is HBO's big show now. Like, this is their flagship show, and I love it. I think they're going their own way. It's not like a big fantasy sci-fi drama. It's good. Here's a fun one, Mia. Brendan Fraser will play the pyromaniac villain Firefly in the Batgirl movie on HBO Max.
Yeah, this is really awesome. I love to see this revival of him. I recently saw him in another movie, and I'm trying to figure it out now, but I can't seem to find it. But anyway, I love to see him back. I loved him in The Mummy and all those old school movies. And yeah, I'm not like the Batgirl movie. I don't know what that's going to be about, but hey, if he's in it, I'll be there. My butt's going to be in a seat.
Keanu-sans, McCona-sans, and now the Brendan Fraser-sans. I'm fine with all of it. Okay.
Let's see. What is your next question? Okay. Warner Brothers is making a Smash Brothers knockoff with WB characters called Multiverse.
Yeah, it's like, this is all true. You can play as Gandalf and fight against Scrappy from Scooby-Doo versus Harley Quinn versus a bunch of other characters, like Rick from Rick and Morty. It's just, they're cashing in on the Smash Bros craze, which I think Nickelodeon did that too. They had some game that's all like that.
Yeah, it sounds like Space Jam, the video game, minus the basketball.
That is what it is. This is we're over. It's done. We can't talk about it anymore. All right, Mia, have any thoughts on Tom Holland as young Nathan Drake in the Uncharted trailer and Mark Wahlberg beside him as that other guy?
Yeah, I do have some thoughts because Nathan Drake is in the video games a grown man. There's a flashback, at some point. So to me, it's kind of hard to sell him as Nathan Drake because he is younger, and it just feels like a generic sort of, Indiana Jones movie. So I think it's actually going to flop. It could make money, but
And finally, this isn't on there, and we know that a 20 seconds thing, but just because you mentioned it beforehand, are you excited about the Pixar Lightyear?
Yeah.
Real but animated live action, I'm going to call it?
Yeah, Chris Evans is voicing the real Buzz Lightyear, who's supposed to be the basis for the toy that is false and not real.
But he's fake.
He's
a fake man.
It looks good, though, and it looks like it's taking some cues from Star Wars. There's a scene where it literally looks like they're on Dagobah, in The Empire Strikes Back. So it looks great for people who like sci-fi, people who like space movies. And it's going to be Pixar, so I'm sure it's going to be a tearjerker, too.
Oh, sure. Okay. And I think that was 20 seconds exactly, is my guess.
Ta-da!
But we can't know. And that's our show, guys. We are here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Winter is Coming Facebook page and the Winter is Coming YouTube page. And also, we have some extra stuff. If you want to get extra videos, extra articles, and a special prize every month, we have the WiC Club, which you can find a link to that in the description of this video and in this comment that I posted right now. Thanks and bye, Julie. Good seeing you as always. And yeah, we're going to have more stuff soon. And we'll have a WiC Club thing out before the week is out, most likely. So stick around. And also, be sure to go download us on iTunes, Google Play, wherever podcasts are available. Rate us, leave us 5-star reviews, leave us a written review that just says how glowing and wonderful we are, or just write a closed parentheses and that's it. A review helps no matter what. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This is always fun, and we will see you next Wednesday. Goodbye.